Hi everyone. Today's question for Ashley is, help, I think I have OCD. What do I do?
Thanks, Gemma. Really good question. And I think the thought that we might have a serious mental health problem can be really scary for us. And we'll probably start bombarding us with lots of questions. What does this mean? Will I have OCD for life? Will it stop me working? Will I have to manage OCD for the rest of my life? Do I have to take medication for life? Can I treat it? Lots of questions. And of course, it's easy to start panicking when that happens. So the first thing I'm going to try and do is give you some reassurance, positive reassurance that actually, yes, we can overcome OCD. Recovery is a realistic proposition. Now, of course, recovery will mean different things for different people. We all have perhaps different views on what recovery means. For some people, it will be getting to a very specific point, destination with their OCD. For others, it'll be an ongoing journey of constant improvement of their quality of life. And that's not to be confused with simply managing OCD. I was actually once asked what recovery means for me, and I had to think about this. And for me, it's about being able to live my life how I want, when I want, regardless of intrusive thoughts or anxiety. That's recovery. Now, of course, whilst we can't guarantee someone will overcome their OCD, the fact is many people do recover. And there's certainly no reason to think you can't be one of those people that will overcome OCD. It might take time, it might take several courses of therapy, but there's a good chance you could achieve that. And I think chances are increased when people can access good quality treatment and support. And also, it's important to remember for those of us with OCD, recovery will only happen if we work at it. Some people, and I was probably one of those people that mistakenly thought recovery would come when I go to therapy once a week for an hour, just do an hour's therapy, and that will be it. I'll recover from OCD. Unfortunately, it's not like that. We have to build it into our everyday life, build therapy into our everyday life, almost as much as exercise. It become a bit like physical exercise, the routine will. And over time, like exercise, recovery will start to take place and we'll start to see it. But I do believe it is one of those things that we do have to work at it. So it's important that we make that point. So how do we get treatment? The first thing you need to do if you're not sure, perhaps you could ask charities like OCD-UK or No Panic. But importantly, is to reach out to a mental health professional who will arrange for an appointment, for an assessment, where they'll talk to you about, help you understand your problems, what's going on with your OCD. At that point, they may offer you treatment, or they might arrange for a more formal diagnosis to help develop a clearer treatment approach and pathway for you and your problems. Accessing treatment in England, you can go to your GP, or you can self-refer to what we call the local NHS Improving Access to Psychological Therapies, IAPT for short. Unfortunately, in Wales, Scotland and Northern Ireland, self-referral isn't yet available. Hopefully that will come, but at this point, you still need to go to your GP and ask them to refer you to your local community mental health team for that assessment and appropriate treatment. The pathways for children and young people may be slightly different, but generally will involve going to your GP at the first point of call. The treatment we recommend for OCD is twofold. Generally CBT, cognitive behavioural therapy, which some people will do alone, other people choose to do that alongside medication, depending on their choice, and the doctors will be able to talk to you about medication. CBT is actually a combination. It's a talking therapy, but also a doing therapy, which is the point I was making before. CBT makes use of two evidence-based treatments: cognitive therapy, the C, that looks at how we think, and the behavioural therapy, the B, which looks at how that affects what we do. In treatment, the therapist will help you consider different ways of thinking and how that affects your behaviour. The sad reality is right now, waiting times for treatment are probably quite long in your area. We know that, and we know that during this period, OCD will fluctuate. There'll be times it will get worse, and at times it might seem better. But during this period, it's important that we don't do nothing. We have to do something. And one of the great things you can do is educate yourself about OCD. The more we understand the condition, the better our chances of making therapy succeed eventually. Finally, don't be disheartened if progress is slow. Keep working at it. It may involve working with the same therapist or possibly a different therapist. And hopefully, step by step, over time, you'll start to see the flourishes of recovery take place. So going back to what recovery means to me, I'm no longer afraid of things that used to frighten me. The floor, the toilet, the germs, the contamination from that. I can now touch the floor, lick my fingers without washing my hands. I can take the sole of my shoe, put my palm on it and rub it all over my face. I can even lick the sole of my shoe. Like, who would want to do that? I do it occasionally because that goes back to my point about doing my therapy. It keeps me on the straight and narrow. And for me, that is recovery in action. Thank you.